Welcome to Exhuming the Truth, a podcast dedicated to cold cases, missing persons, systemic injustices, and the forensic science that seeks answers when silence remains. My name is Asha, and I am a forensic scientist and criminologist, and in each episode, we examine the evidence, the systems, and the human stories often left behind. This isn't just about true crime. It's about truth. It's about accountability, and it's about giving a voice to those who deserve to be heard. Thank you for being here. Let's jump straight into it. Hi guys, thank you for being here. Welcome back. I hope everybody has had a beautiful day. We are actually in the midst of celebrating 7,000 followers on Facebook, which is amazing. Thank you all so much. We did gain a lot of new followers when we did a case episode for Sarah Spears. And while we're touching base on that, that was our last episode. And I did do episode 2 and 3 for Sarah Spears. However, as I was uploading those, it was a bit glitchy and I pressed play and listened to them back and I really wasn't happy with the quality. So once I'm finished this episode, I'm going to re-record them and re-upload them for you both for free as a thank you and apology. There's a bit going on for housekeeping. I want to first say the Canine Trackers in Perth, they're a voluntary group who use search and rescue dogs. They're an incredible group of people and they're actually... they've put out an expression of interest looking for new handlers and new canines. And these need to be people who have achieved a tracking championship or higher, who would like to expand their existing skills into search and rescue, which is an amazing opportunity if you do have that qualification. So I just wanted to put that out there. Those guys do amazing work. What's on and what's coming up for the end of Jan? We're super busy. Of course, today we have our second episode for Corrie Feehan, and we're going to go a bit into depth about who Corrie is as a person and what he means to his beautiful family who are left behind waiting for answers, as well as a couple of discrepancies in his case and how you can help us help the Feehans. Of course, we have the episodes 2 and 3 for Sarah, as I spoke about before. We have a Thursday subscriber-only episode yet to be confirmed, but that is happening on Thursday. The big one that we have coming up, which is always a frequently asked question, when is episode 2 for Luke Gilbert coming out? We just had to tweak a couple of things, but that is done and ready to go. So hopefully that will be possibly next week. We've signed on 6 new cases this month, and we're preparing to share these with you, as well as an episode for Gavin Moresby-White, who is missing, and Scott Hayden, who is also missing. We also have Eden Huntington. He was on the phone to 000 actually, and that phone call was cut off and he was never seen or heard from again. We, of course, have episode 2 for Tristan Griffiths ready to go. And we have Luke Hazelwood, who is missing from Lancelin since Christmas Eve. So there's a lot going on. And in amongst this, we're actually having to do a couple more legal documents and forms for the charity registration. So please bear with me. I am doing my best. Sometimes that is a little bit slow. However, you know, got to do what you got to do. So today, this is a really important episode. I will do a brief recap of what we spoke about in episode 1 for Corrie Feehan, just to give you a reminder. If you haven't already listened to that episode, I strongly encourage you to do so, just so you've got a bit of background, and then maybe jump on here. I know that there's chapters available now, especially on Spotify, so you can jump ahead and you don't have to listen to me rambling on in the housekeeping, as the people of the internet or of YouTube like to say I like the sound of my own voice, which I actually hate. However, it is what it is. So let's jump straight into Where is Corrie Feehan Missing in Leeman, WA, Part 2. So just as a reminder, you guys, it was actually the 26th of April of 2025 when Corrie Feehan, at age 47 years old, went missing in Leeman. That was when he was last seen, the last confirmed sighting of him, April 26th. Now, despite the extensive sea and land searches, his whereabouts remains a haunting mystery for his family. If you need a little bit of background on the area of Leeman in WA, it's Leeman. And this is like a small coastal fishing town. He was very happy and comfortable here. This is like a seaside community and it only has a few hundred residents. And since we released the first episode for Corrie, which was the 22nd of July in 2025, so he'd been missing for 12 weeks at that point in time, we have had quite a lot of people come forward who are either old friends of his, or have heard things and whatnot. So we will get into a bit of that, but obviously I don't want to include any speculation. That's just out of respect for the family and the case, and it's just not how I work or operate. So please bear with me. Let's get into part 2. So Corrie's absence has left a family completely shattered. It's left the community unsettled, and there are too many questions here that have gone unanswered. And today's episode is not about the rumours and it's not about speculation, like I said. It's about Corrie, the man his family knew and loved, and what they want the public to understand right now. This is Where is Corrie Feehan Part 2, and this is through his family's eyes. Corrie was, in the words of his sister, one of the kindest people you could ever meet. He was generous to a fault. The kind of man who would give you the shirt off his back if you needed it. The kind of man who made everyone around him feel welcome. He was the life of the party. He was bubbly and warm and full of laughter, someone who lifted the mood in a room simply by just being there. But Corrie wasn't just kind, he was also capable, and he was good with his hands and natural problem solver. A bush mechanic who could fix almost anything with whatever was available. And in Leeman, people knew him as someone who helped the community quietly without ever needing praise. If something broke, Corrie could fix it. And if someone needed help, Corrie showed up. His family describes it as having the Midas touch. And there's countless memories, too many to narrow down, because Corrie made an impact everywhere he went. I want to talk to you a little bit about how Corrie's family has described his life before he disappeared. So before he vanished, Corrie was doing exactly what he loved. He was working hard on his boat. He was living at his shack, which was his home by the sea on his land, connected to the country. He was fishing, he was building, he was living simply and honestly, and most importantly, his son was staying with him. Corrie loved being a father. He loved his life in Leeman, and there was no indication at all that he wanted to leave it behind. Now, according to his family, there was no unusual behaviour in the lead up to his disappearance. Communication with family was always good and always consistent, and there were no red flags. No warning signs, and this was not a man planning to disappear. So what do we know about the days that Corrie went missing? The family has since been told information that's pretty troubling, if you ask me. Corrie was at his shack, which was his home, with several people from Wednesday through to Saturday, the period during which he disappeared. Now, at least 3 people were present at that time, and none of them reported Corrie missing. Let that sit for a moment. Corrie did not go missing alone. He was last known to be in the company of others, and yet his family were not notified. Police did not contact them. Friends did not contact them. And instead, Corrie's family actually found out about him being a missing person through Facebook. Imagine that. On Tuesday, the 29th of April 2025, they saw a missing persons post shared online. This is how they learned that Corrie was gone. The police did attend Corrie's shack, but according to his sister, no forensic examination was ever conducted here. The location was looked over, but no forensic evidence was ever collected, and this was despite the fact that Corrie lived there. He was last known to be there. There were other people present. Personal items are now missing, and his boat is missing. This is not a minor oversight, you guys. For families of missing people, early forensic work can be the difference between answers and permanent uncertainty. So the police have spoken to these people that were last known to be with Corrie, but speaking is not the same as scrutiny, as we all know, and this is exactly where the family's frustration becomes clear. They feel that the system has essentially let them down, because it has. And while there's been volunteers and community searches, and they've been outstanding and compassionate, so committed and so tireless, the investigation itself, in the family's view, contains huge gaps, and these gaps need to be addressed. Oftentimes when I'm talking about forensic evidence, I often talk about the lack of evidence, and that's key here. Corey's personal belongings are missing. His boat is missing. That's not small. And for a fisherman, a boat is not incidental. It is livelihood, it's transport, and it's identity. And if Corrie had left intentionally, why leave behind the people he loved without a word and take only some things? If something happened to Corrie, then someone knows more than they're saying. There are a number of questions that demand answers in this case, and at this point, it's not unreasonable at all, and it's not inflammatory at all to ask the hard questions. That's exactly what we need to be doing right now. Accountability is not blame, and it's actually just clarity. And in Corrie Feehan's case, there are specific gaps that deserve public answers. First of all, why was Corrie not reported missing immediately by the people who were last with him? Corrie was living at that shack he was in. He was seen with others from Wednesday through to Saturday. He did not simply fail to check in. He's vanished from his own home. Why did no one raise this alarm? Second of all, why did Corrie's family learn he was missing via Facebook and not police? This is absolutely insane. A missing persons notification should not be discovered through social media. Families deserve direct contact, clear timelines, and transparency from the outset. And thirdly, why was no forensic examination conducted at the shack? This was Corrie's residence. It was his last known location, and multiple people had been present. So personal items are now missing. His boat is missing. Forensic evidence is time critical. Once lost, obviously, as we know, it cannot be recreated. Fourth of all, what steps were taken to preserve potential evidence and when? Were photographs taken? Were items logged? Were timelines established early? And if so, the family deserves to know this. And if not, the public deserves to ask why. My fifth point here is, what is the status of his boat? A missing boat is not a minor detail. This is huge. It's central to understanding what may have happened to Corrie. Was it sighted? Was it searched for by air or sea? Were marine alerts issued early enough? Sixth, how thoroughly were the last known witnesses assessed? Did they give statements? Speaking to people is not the same as investigating inconsistencies and taking statements. And when someone disappears from their own home, context absolutely matters. And finally, why does the family feel shut out of information? Families should not feel like outsiders in the search for their own loved one. Transparency builds trust, and silence erodes it. These questions are not accusations. They're very, very reasonable expectations. And when a man like Corrie Feehan disappears from his home with others present, with belongings missing, with a bloody boat missing. I'm sorry, I'm trying to bite my tongue and not swear because this is so incredibly frustrating. The response has to be exhaustive. It can't be minimal like this. The accountability is not pointing fingers. It's about making sure no opportunity for answers is lost here. So when I spoke to Corrie's sister, she and his other family members put together some answers for me, and I want to tell you about their pain and also their strength. And they basically have described what they're going through and the emotional toll quite plainly. Their hearts are broken, and every day is harder than the last. This is grief, and it's grief without answers, and that's a unique kind of suffering. What is getting them through is their family and their friends leaning on each other and refusing to let Corrie's name fade. And one thing is certain for them is that they will never stop searching, and one thing is certain for us is that we will never stop helping them. Now, I have a direct message from the family, and this is where the family wants to speak directly to those who may know something, They are asking for honesty. If you know anything, no matter how small, come forward. And this is their message. If this was your family member, what would you do? By staying quiet, you are just as guilty. These are not words spoken lightly. They're spoken from heartbreak. Corrie Feehan was not a transient. He was not disconnected. He was not alone. He was loved. He is loved. He was involved. He was known. And yet he vanished from his own home with others present, with no forensic follow-through and critical questions still unanswered. This case deserves continued attention, and that's exactly what we're going to give it. We need to be entirely transparent, and Corrie deserves to be found. So to Corrie, from us and from his loved ones, you are loved, you are missed, and you matter, and we won't stop helping your family find you. And to Corrie's family, your voices matter, your persistence matters, and your love for Corrie is clear to everyone listening. And if you have any information at all about Corrie Feehan, his disappearance, his boat, or the events surrounding those days in Leeman, please get in contact with the family, with us, with Crime Stoppers, with WA Pol. Let's help bring Corrie home. Let's help the Feehan family. I really want to say thank you so much for coming and listening to part 2 for Corrie Feehan. This is very important, and we need all the help we can get. We need you to keep on this case, like I shared on social media, I think last week, about you never know like whose share of the name or of the story has helped people call in or jogged someone's memory. And I'm really encouraging you to do so, to share, to talk, and to not stay silent and not allow this to be the way it is in this country. This family deserves more, and we want to help give them more. So please share this with your loved ones, and thank you so much for being here. I love and appreciate all of you so much for listening and for helping us spread the word on this case. It really needs us. The family really need us. My name is Asha Walther. I am a forensic scientist and criminologist, and this is Exhuming the Truth. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have enjoyed it, and if so, you can join us across all social platforms and on our new group, Sleuth Society, on Facebook. Have a beautiful day.